Hey everyone, Brento here. Welcome to another episode of Dump City, the only show on the internet so boring that you can't understand how the host can talk for 2 hours straight without falling asleep. Okay, I don't know about that one. We're back at it here. It's been a few days. I've been playing a bit between episodes here. I have finished some buildings, as you can see in Dump City. This is our construction zone here. If you notice, there's some things here that are actually no longer blueprinted. These are real buildings now. And I played for basically one day, for quite a few hours in between just to get things caught up. Yeah, I've been working on this highway here. This is now an asphalt highway. So our connection to Russia is better built up than before. And now we're building the next leg of it here. And you see we got our temporary road here alongside. This is totally new since last episode. So some vehicles are going to start getting into Dump City Central here a little quicker rather than going all around the lake like they were before. And at the same time, it's kind of being used as like a road to build these power lines. So, it makes a little bit more sense by building the power lines. Why not build the gravel road to go with it? Our lumber mill, our woodcutter's post is complete. This episode, the idea is going to be to ultimately hoard as much as we can. Well, another thing that got done between episodes too is the track builder got started. These track builders, if you can't buy track builders in realistic mode from the custom house. How do you build a track builder? No, not the track builder. Go to the disassembled, obviously, right? And you get these, and then you pick them up by a flatbed truck, and then you deliver them to your track builder, and then it starts building. And that, again, the first time I played this in realistic mode, I didn't know that, and I wasted a lot of money. So hopefully I'm not as bad off. Oh, but I did screw something up here. I was watching where I placed an aggregate storage facility here. I saw myself do that on video and said, oh no, that I forgot to make the connection to the brick factory. Is this going to work now? And so I loaded up the game, and no, it didn't work. So I had the aggregate storage facility I blew up, but some of these conveyors began construction, and I had to blow them up. They have to be dismantled first. Really, the goal of this episode is to store as much stuff as we can and prepare for the building phase. And of course, I'll probably rant and talk about other tangential stories for long stretches of the show. And, again, I've looked at some of my episodes, and I don't even build anything for 45 minutes sometimes. I'm just literally complaining. Again, the show is modeled after a little after the joy of painting, where you're painting instead of painting a painting, you're painting a city. And much like that show had an interest to it because there was stuff going on. This, I think, has it too. So this, despite the fact that I suck at everything else, the game itself has, it does some lifting here. There's a few things we got to take care of. I moved some of these. Again, I replaced some of these things and redid some of these roads here. So we're going to do a bit of stuff in real time here. Obviously this is an ASMR channel too, as you know, right? Background noise, we're taking over the market. So yeah, let's focus on the game here a little bit here. I don't want to get too distracted from the objective hand. So these buildings were all laid out differently, and I want to make sure I don't. Okay, what's going on here? Sometimes if you start doing something and then you get sidetracked and do something else, you completely forget what you're doing, and then you build over that, and it ends up being a bigger disaster because you didn't realize that was just temporary stuff. And so we did take out our bus end station here that was attached to the vehicle repair station, and that means later we're going to have to put it back. Again, if you're watching this series, or if you're watching this episode and you haven't seen previous episodes, I've put some tutorials in the channel, so it explains some of the things. And as we go further into the series, I'm going to explain less and less details. Like, I don't want to re-explain every mechanic over and over. That's why I recorded some of these videos, is to show you, the basics of things. Like, you need electricity for this to work. And in fact, this is a very high priority project. I wanted to start the episode zoomed on this. None of our sawmills are going to start working until we have electricity. We have no power supply here. So this, it's all waiting on this. And actually, this line here needs to be built, but we're running out of money, and I'm thinking the Chinese electricity might get there even sooner. In order to hoard stuff, we need electricity. Okay, that's the first rule of hoarding. So I want to make sure everything is, okay, this here, let's pause that. Yeah, that's not getting built yet. So I want these to get built, but as these get built, it speeds up the construction of the power lines. So let's just check over things to make sure everything's normal. Remember, an empty construction office is a busy construction office. So we know they're doing something, right? That's how you find problems in the world. Okay, we got a flatbed here doing nothing. I don't know why he's doing nothing. I guess there's not much to haul. Maybe there's a need for a flatbed over here somewhere. Let's just check. Okay, we got a concrete mixer doing nothing. Let's just see if we got any rogue vehicles. Sometimes I had a construction tower. The construction tower that was here, for some reason, when I went to view where it was, like this, where it zooms in on it, it went to some place on the other side of the map. I don't know how that happened. That obviously had to be some sort of glitch in the matrix, but it just disappeared. And I had it selected, and then I was able to load on vehicle, and it just reappeared out of the ether back in the construction office. So I think it's being used somewhere now. Like, if we do that again, I think it's actually, okay, it's on a legitimate project. Yeah, we're working on our water. That's another thing I did offline, is I went over all the water and other electrical projects around here, because when we start bringing people in, we want at least 80% of their basic needs taken care of at once. If you just take care of one at a time, and you go to all the effort to bring them in, they just leave anyways. They're very picky in this game. It's not like capitalism, which is effectively slavery if you think about it. The way modern Western markets work. They actually do kind of model that in the game if you look at it. Like, if you look at these buildings here, if you look at the price of immigrants, like 5 Soviet experts is 7,000 rubles. 10 average Soviet citizens is 5,700. But if you want 10 immigrants from, I guess, the Western Third World, the victims of the capitalists, it's only $1,000. So in a way, you think of that as kind of if you live in a Western society, you're probably a slave of some sort, even though the degree of slavery you're in varies quite a bit, right? You could be a YouTube slave, for example, which is how is that really a bad form of slavery? Is this I guess it depends. It depends what game I'm playing. I suppose if I was playing a game I didn't like, and I was, forced to review something that I had no interest in, that would be a type of slavery, I guess. Hold on here. Wait, I thought I could rant, but I can't. We have stuff not happening here. What are these guys not doing? How come these flatbeds aren't working? I thought there was power lines to build. Okay, we need a bit of, let's get this high priority. Yeah, let's make it high priority. It's only workers that are the high priority here. Well, this is going to beat China. We're not going to use Chinese electricity. Because if these workers don't get here, um, those trucks are just going to be idle. Once we get to the next stage of construction there, like just in case, again, I'll do this for someone who's not as familiar with the show. See these resources, they're on site right now. We got all the gravel, we got all the concrete, we just need workers, right? That's the currency. Everything's measured in time, workers' time, okay? Money is a crystallized time, if you think about it, and that's how you manage your resources. So we have the physical resources which we paid for and put on site, but we're missing workers to use the resources and make something out of it. So there needs to be 92 work days allocated to that. But once that gets done, we can start the next phase, and then steel and electronics need to be delivered to finalize the power lines. And then this area will have power. So that's why these open hull trucks aren't moving steels, because they're waiting for that to happen. So I thought, yeah, let's move that up to high priority. Actually, let's go over, let's check our track builder too. You see, look, there's a bit more track from the start of the episode. So it does have electricity. So you can see we do have this power transformer giving this building electricity. So it's starting to build the tracks. So maybe by the end of the episode, it will get up to, around here. It's going to work its way to the custom house to connect and pick up our super old GG1 train, 25-year-old train. Well, it's 27 years old now, but we got it super cheap, and we'll bring it into the depot and get it repaired while we start finishing the rest of the rail network. Maybe we can get up to, it might take a year before it actually goes into service once it's in the depot. If we can get up to 100%, we paid like a third of the cost, though it is going to age faster based on based on the age of it, it's going to deteriorate faster. So that's that. So I played I played through the winter between episodes to get things sped up a little bit. Population was 10,453, which was roughly a 407 person decline versus last year. So we're only declining at half the rate of the year before. The year before was about 800. So it's declining a little slower. But hopefully, within a year or two, we'll hit our base of population, and then people will start wanting to live here if we don't run out of money. Oh, and that's another thing I have to get you caught up on too, is the debts. Okay. I had to borrow some money. I ran out of US dollars, so I started taking some $100,000 debts here. As you know, that's kind of the reason this isn't really communism. The fact that communism would be a credit union, right? Where the interest collected would go into a pool and you get it somewhere else if the money was fair. But right now there's czars somewhere on this map. There's still czars and wealthy families that you rarely hear of taking money out of the system, and it's 2.8% right now. And just I guess just as a bit of a tip here, one of the things I want to do in this series is explain money a little bit, because I don't think everyone really understands money, and I'm doing some research, and economics is it's actually quite popular on the internet. So that's a component of the show. I should discuss this a bit more. But in general, when you're borrowing capital, don't borrow more than you need. So, like if I took out $1 million, I'd be paying 2.8% on $1 million, and that's more lost money. You should just borrow as you need. Like a line of credit is more efficient than just a flat-out mortgage on the whole thing, right? So that's what you try to do as best you can. However, you want to avoid penalties. In this game here, it breaks down, amount owed. It shows you your borrowing power. it shows you what's due at each day. And ideally, though, if we're running this, if we get to a positive cash flow, we can stop borrowing. But from the previous playthrough, this is this is the capitalist U.S. dollar bank account. We have, of course, the rubles, which has a 2% interest rate, but we don't need it because we started off with so much. But if we go bankrupt, we're probably going to go bankrupt in U.S. dollars. And this is another reason why I'm bringing that other power line in around as a source, because if you only do business in one currency and you don't have enough of that currency and they won't lend you more because the amount you can borrow is down to nothing, deal in other currencies. And in real life, that means things like do it yourself sometimes, right? You don't always have to buy things. Sometimes you can save money. Just I've done do-it-yourself jobs that would have cost me $500 to $1,000. I remember changing a water pump in my truck once, and that would have been $1,000 mechanic's job minimum, I think. And I bought a $50 part. It took me a day, but that was $1,000 earned in a day. So it wasn't as hard. There was YouTube videos. It really wasn't hard. Again, I'm a little bit mechanically inclined. I worked on oil rigs when I was younger, so I know a little bit about motors. It wasn't that hard of a job for me, but I'm not a mechanic by any means. I'm not. I was by definition not qualified to do the job, but for $1,000, that's how you avoid, paying interest on loans, right? So that's just a bit of a tip. Borrow as little as you can. You don't need a whole bunch in the account unless needed. And I think that's common sense to a lot of people, but not necessarily to everyone. So that's just one of the things I want to do on this show is talk a bit about money, because there is definitely an interest in that. Everyone's interested in money and how to manage it. We don't all have good paying fake jobs, and that's going to be another thing I talk about. I'm going to talk about a certain industry of fake jobs later in the episode, but I don't want to do too much back-to-back ranting here. We got to play the game and go on tangents. That's the show. You've seen, one repetition of it. This goes on for 2 hours. Okay, it's some of it might make you mad. You might disagree with what I say, but that's tough cookies, right? But a lot of people in my demographic won't speak up. They know the evils of the world, but they won't speak up because part of the rules of having a fake job is to not complain about things, right? But I've never had the privilege of having a fake job, so I can go on YouTube and I can speak my mind. I can point out things like the average worker only works half the time at their job. That's the average. So 50% of people with jobs watching this are getting paid like super universal basic income, like at a rate much higher than universal basic income. And that's why a lot of people are against universal basic income, is because it means they won't get as much free money right now, right? That explains why people with fake jobs don't see the benefit of universal basic income. And a lot of people, and it's kind of sad, a lot of people live their life this way. Like, there might be someone listening to this, but it's true. A lot of people would rather everyone else suffer and have to do a fake job like themselves if they have to do it themselves. That's their logic. If I have to do this fake job to get money, so must everyone else. Okay? And I got news for you. That is a very, very, that is bad. That way of thinking is so bad that there's two major errors with thinking that way. First off, it's just selfish and inconsiderate of others. But the other thing is, how important is your job really? If the average person only works half the time at their job, that means we could lay off half, the world and still maintain the same quality of work so long as everyone worked the full day at their job. Now, if you're watching the series, you know by now that if things don't get built, like if you don't get things done and it's not producing actual stuff of usefulness, there is no room for fake jobs. So this belief that fake jobs need to be created is an economic disaster waiting to happen. Like, if you think about it, imagine there's two countries, one of them that believes in fake jobs and the other that does not, that just believes on pure productivity. They'd use robots to do everything and give everyone UBI. Okay, a society of robots and UBI versus fake jobs. Which one exists in the future? Which military is going to be more powerful? Which one's going to be more influential? The one that is far more productive, or the one that's just fake jobs, digging ditches and filling them in, achieving nothing? Which nation exists in the end? And that's why you can't condone fake jobs. You will cause the nation to collapse. You'll go over the fiscal cliff, and as we can see, that's exactly what's happened in the U.S. There's too many people who don't really understand economics. So, economics, again, I've said this so many times, but if you haven't been watching the series, it's efficiency times scale. How efficient are you with your resources, and at what scale? And scale is measured by intelligence, work ethic, distances, like geometries. Geometry is a big thing. You don't want to be like, if this city here in this game was way further from the border, it would be less efficient, right? And then the scale of other things would be an issue too, right? Because we get all our resources and our workers from the border. So it's imperative to understand that there's a difference between working and productivity. They're two different things. These are things that when I was younger, I never understood. That even my early 40s, I never understood the difference. No one really broke down that working, jobs and working does not equate productivity. Machines, if you can sit down for 5 years, develop a machine that automates your job for the rest of your life, even if you sit around and play video games for the rest of your life, you're just as productive as someone who worked that whole time. And you're entitled to the same pay, frankly. But you get to play video games, right? But there's again, I specialize in automation as an engineer when I was in school, and the people that fund these things that were the vast majority were resistant to my skills. The vast majority, because they subscribe to the doctrine of fake jobs. Fake jobs, everything's just a show. Just give someone a job and pretend. Their philosophy is give them a fake job so that the people doing the real jobs don't feel as demotivated, right? Here's a better solution. Pay the people doing the real jobs more money, and the people not doing anything productive, train them to be productive. There's an idea. That's real. That's a society that will survive, not one that will lose out. Okay, so we're still waiting on our electricity here. Once electricity gets built, we will have the ability to start hoarding resources. Actually, while we're waiting here, let's get our see. Okay, we got our the conveyors torn down here. I think we can replace our brick factory. I don't want to do too much building on the show either. Like, that's one thing I found is because it's such a precise thing that's happening, that I don't think it's as conducive. It's not as entertaining as just seeing what's going on. But the roads, I find building roads is okay, but laying the buildings, it's so precise. And let's try that for now. Okay, we'll suspend construction. See, once we're able to produce lumber, we'll use that lumber to build a brick factory, and then we'll build a brick factory, and then we'll stockpile bricks. And then by next episode, this open storage will be filled with bricks, lumber, wood. I'll get some steel delivered and some prefab delivered to the storage facility. The next episode, we'll start building. Speaking of building here, okay, keep an eye on what's going on. So this has been slowly getting built. Is our fire truck, our fire station. So we gotta now deliver fuel to it, and we gotta buy ourselves a fire truck. We got electricity. I think there's electricity problems everywhere here. There shouldn't be one there though. Why is there no electricity? Oh, we ran out of money. We ran out of money. You know what? I don't know if we're paying a penalty here. I didn't do that offline. I didn't run out of money. But when I'm blabbing, maybe you saw that happening as I'm ranting. And that's fake money. Fake money, right? So I don't know what the penalties are when you're late. I definitely know you have to pay the interest later. And there's no interest on the interest. It's just due later. But I don't know how the late fees work. Again, it's all a scam, the finance industry. Bankers are essentially agents of multimillionaires and billionaires. That's what bankers are. They're not there to help you. They're there to trick you into getting a mortgage and more mortgage and debt than you should get. That's what bankers do. So, it's good to avoid borrowing too much money. Okay, so that was the power issue. Good thing we checked. But we do got to get some fire trucks. So let's just see what kind of fire trucks we can buy here. We're not too concerned about speed because the fastest anything can go right now is 60 kilometers an hour. I was looking at the road upgrades, and there's an 80 kilometer an hour road, but it needs prefab, and then I don't think that prefab scales to asphalt roads. So I think we're just going to go from 60 directly to 110. So long story short, because nothing we have goes that fast yet, let's just go with some good quality level 60. Okay, so here we got for 6,000 rubles. A level 23. That's the best one. Yeah, I don't. Why would? Okay. So let's just remember that. I don't want to spend US dollars on a fire truck, though I do know later there's some very good fire trucks from the US, but they won't be of any use until we have asphalt. Let's see if we have some used fire trucks here. Oh, we do have one here. Level 17, 85 kilometers an hour, 1 year. Yeah, these, you know what, let's buy that. We will give ourselves one fire truck. The thing is, we don't have any people living in the city, I don't think. But we did build that in a location where if someone does live, they would just naturally go there. So we got ourselves one used fire truck. Given how little things there are how few things that can burn down, I don't think we need much more just yet. As a factory gets built, I think every 3 factories maybe we'll add another fire truck. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a fake job, a fake industry that's costing Western society a lot of money, and it's created by of course, rich people who want this industry. And that is one of the reasons I didn't record an episode, because it costs productivity, this industry. It drains the rest of the system. And it's one of the fake jobs that I think is a big problem for society is filing your own taxes. I had to file my taxes yesterday, and between the gathering of data and just familiarizing myself with the process, and being a tech guy who knows exactly how this process could be automated, like you shouldn't have to file taxes. I've known how to implement this technology for over 15 years now. There's many people out there who know how to implement it. The major difficulty is the lawyers and the people who create all the exceptions for various reasons, and they hold us all back, basically. Now, could a corporation be fully automated? Probably not yet. Like you'd still need like corporate accountants. Okay, at a certain scale, it's a legitimate job, I guess. But individuals, like if you're just collecting a paycheck, or just you're not, there's not like 10 or more people involved with your organization. It is just a waste of time. It's just costing productivity. And the fact that we haven't automated taxation for the masses yet, like if the Doge group wants to do something useful, there's a lot of opportunity here. That basically what you got to simplify the tax code and acknowledge that, like, the reason they make it complicated is so rich people only know about the ways to not pay taxes, and you don't. The system itself just needs to be simplified. Now, I'd go as far as to say that more stuff is write-offs. Like, I'd say almost everything should be a write-off. If you spend money, you want to encourage people to spend money. You want to encourage people not to save money. Okay? You should reward people if they make a lot of money to spend it. But the whole process can be automated. Just it's the information collected with your credit card transactions, any kind of point of sale information. Cash transactions aren't tracked anyway, so what's the difference between automating that or not? I guess the belief is you're going to declare cash transactions, and you buy something on eBay classified, and you're going to buy and sell stuff and include it. Like, that's ridiculous. You're wasting time. That's not. If it's done that way, it's off the record. Quit wasting time policing that stuff. At the end of the day, I think probably 90% of us could just automatically have our taxes just calculated. And of course, they should be much higher for the rich than they currently are. I believe, top marginal tax rates of 90%. It's a message, right? If you're earning so much money, save some money for the rest of the market. Your name is drowning out other alternative options, and you're a problem if you're not sharing. You're a pig at the trough, eating too much, is what you are. So, I believe extremely high top marginal tax rates make sense, and that they used to be that way. The U.S. had them as high as 92%. Just sort of a message to say, okay, enough of this. You're producing too much stuff. Save the market for others. Okay. Now, there could be potentially some ways to, like, let's say there actually is a shortage of demand of certain jobs like that, and you want to reward people. Well, do it in other ways, like, maybe you get comped a vehicle. Maybe you have a limousine, driver, something like that. That's, other ways if it's that important. But don't overcomplicate the tax system. It needs to be simplified and automated, through central computer systems. Otherwise, a lot of it's just a fake industry. There's probably millions of people out there who are involved in the tax, the legality of it, the accounting aspect of it for individuals. Having a business that does your taxes for you and you have to pay them to do this, this isn't for your benefit. People do not benefit paying taxes. Why would they pay to do something that doesn't benefit them? That's not a free market. You see, that shows you that, but you're used to it. You think this is required, that this is an essential thing. No, the processing of taxation. Again, I've known how to do this since the 2010s, and any kind of software engineer, anyone who can, program a server, communicate, anyone knows how to do distributed databases, reportings, daily copies, daily audits, transactional reports. You do cross-table analysis. You add everything up one way, then add it this other way, and if they don't equate, then you narrow down where the problem is, right? But that's all done digitally. You can literally, at the end of the year, be owing tax or get a tax refund automatically through a computerized system. Doge could do that. If these guys have an IQ above 120, they could do that. It's not, you don't even have to be a real genius to do this. But the problem is there's too many fake jobs and we don't have UBI. So you kind of got to do UBI at the same time as you create more and more layoffs, right? Again, UBI, if the fact of the matter is machines replace all human jobs, computers do all the work, so be it. Become a YouTube streamer, become a pro athlete, I don't know, become a painter, make an ASMR channel, do something that, maybe just play video games all day, I don't care. It's just, play poker, I don't know. Just find something not to cause problems. Be cost effective with your money. But the whole taxation industry, given the level of technology, has actually been technically dead for 15 years, but it's been propped up, much like a lot of industries. And I'm going to go over them. There's no one that's safe on this show. Eventually, you're going to get called out for something on this show. So I thought, and again, it's not like these people are dumb people or anything. That they just chose a career, misled into the necessity of it and the falsehood of the industry itself. Now, again, there are some cases where corporate taxes are a little different, okay? Because you're setting up very complicated enterprises, and you got to keep track of things. So accounting in that sense, and there could be, at the corporate level at least, a reason to offer tax benefits, okay, and some exceptions. But I mean, individual taxes, for 9 out of 10 people, it should have been automated. Since we've certainly had the ability to do it 15 years ago, 10 years ago it should have been in place. But the people in charge don't want anything to change. And there is, again, there's a lobby of people that are going to resist it. They're going to resist change because they like doing whatever useless fake job they're doing for money, and they're just selfish, right? A lot of people are unaware of the burden they are on society. And, if you get paid a lot of money and work hard, that does not mean you're at all useful or productive, right? Working hard, doing a job that no one needs. There's a lot of jobs like it. And other episodes, I'm going to talk about it, but this one is automated taxes, the tax filing specifically. I'm not saying taxes shouldn't exist, but we absolutely do need to automate personal taxes. Just again, I could have done an episode yesterday if I didn't have to waste a day doing my taxes. And again, it was every single thing I did, a machine could have done automatically. All the records were online. It was the expenses, the flagging, all could have been done by a machine automatically. But it wasted my that's not even a fake job. That's wasting people's personal time, inhibiting their ability to do work, and that it's an externalized cost that the taxation industry doesn't even consider. They're like, well, I'm an accountant. I'm helping you with your taxes, not realizing that the person you're helping is committing just as much time as you sitting there as you help them. So it's two people wasting time, but only one person getting paid for the waste of time. So, personal taxes, I think the whole industry fully automated. Do it within 5 years, Doge. I'll be a believer in it when I see that. Oh, wait. Do we have electricity? Did it happen during the rant? We do have workers here. So there's someone going to be delivering fuel to this now. Someone's got to be delivering fuel. Where's the truck? Is it going there? It's going to the fire station. Well, I think we're going to send... I think we might send one. If we got some... See, we're moving the fuel a lot faster here, too. Oh, this is done, too. Let's start this segment of road. So we enable each segment as we go, because we use the previous segment to get there. If I don't do that, we'll try to find a way around to start working on this segment, and that's very economically inefficient, right? You can't just say you want everything done now. That's stupid. This might not necessarily get paved anytime soon. It's just our road into Dump City, really. That's the main thing here. We're going to just keep working on that. But we have electricity here. And let's see if we've got a spare fuel truck here. Because now that our roads are moving faster, we have a little bit surplus in... let's head over here. Because I think this guy's going to have difficulty keeping up with the fuel supply in Soviet Los Angeles. Oh, we can build another segment of our highway here now. These are all important things that are getting done here too. So this, we can take out part of the road here because it's done. Let me just double check. Yes, this is done. But the next leg of it, we can start. So, in China, the Chinese Communist Party has various projects they have to work in. This isn't a joke. This is just a comedic premise, okay? In China, they have a lot of problems, and they do some good things. I think they manage their country pretty well. I'm moderately impressed by how well they operate such a, to have 1 billion people to take care of. That's a fairly large project, but sometimes they get things wrong. And they had an incident once where there was some people getting sick, and I guess there was like a radiation leak or something, and there was they noticed some people were developing mutations, and they weren't sure exactly what the cause of it is. I think it had to do with might have been a nuclear power plant that was putting radioactive materials in a landfill or something. I don't know the details, but they figured it out because there was this highly mutated citizen. His name was Sing Wong, and he filed out some reports to the Chinese Communist Party, and that there was something unusual in the area that was causing mutations. And upon meeting Mr. Wong, they, I know they like to cover up some things, but in this case, they trusted him. Okay, that's a variation on a joke that I don't know how that's gonna work. We'll see. I'll watch it later. I'm playing the game while talking. How good do you want the jokes to be? Okay, dare we try this construction, this brick factory again? Okay, we have. Okay, where are the work? We got to send some workers here now too. Where's the gas? It's supposed to be delivering gas here. Where's our gas truck? Is it overworked? Ooh, this guy's got some sewage backup somewhere. That must mean our water lines are working. I'm gonna have to go over. This is so much to play unpaused while talking, doing a show. It's so much harder than playing the game normally. I'm not even good at the game normally. Okay, now we got Lumberjacks showing up. Okay, so the Lumberjacks route. If we go to it. See, they're getting Mexican. We're not getting Canadian Lumberjacks. We're getting Mexican Lumberjacks. And they're going to go here, and they're going to get dropped off at this bus station, and they're either going to work in this facility here, or they're going to work in the saw cutting mill. And that should start producing some lumber, and then it'll eventually go into our open storage. So we'll go up to medium priority, because once this gets full, this has to be done, right? So you check it out, our rail network's expanding slowly. Let's just check out our gravel supplies here. So another thing I set up here was I have they did this between episodes. The distribution office here is delivering construction waste. It's looking for construction waste from the border, and it's making into a gravel, which is. I was looking at the price of it. It's literally about the same price as mining it. So if we're not going to be mining it, and there is no. I think there are some mines around here you can use, but that's just not the theme of the series, right? The idea is to recycle stuff, and once we run out of money, we'll start demolishing other houses and using that as aggregate. But we want to make sure we have a constant supply of gravel being made. Well, so we've got a bunch in here now. We're storing it. Actually, what we could do, once we finish off all our gravel stuff in this area, which is kind of coming to an end. So let's make this a slightly higher. Let's make that a high priority. I want to set, actually we could do that now. Because we have enough gravel stockpiled that we could start setting our gravel source to, oh darn, our road to get in here is blocked off. Okay, we'll have to wait a little bit. We're still working in the area. Because the only road to pick up the gravel out of here goes this way. And we're still doing construction in the area. So we'll let that fill up a little bit more. The idea is that by next episode, when I run this a little bit tonight, that all these, we've got a big stockpile of materials ready to start building other buildings. So let's just check if our lumber mills, finally see our lumberjacks working. Oh, there's some lumber there. There is some lumber. Now, normally, you can set up a distribution office to move things around here, but I'm not going to do that. We're just limited on vehicles here. So some more workers are coming in here. Oh, these are construction workers. Okay, they're going to finish this up. So we have 2 cars producing goods here. Oh, we got more wood in the forest now. That's strange. I dropped a bunch of pine trees. I wonder if that affected things. Yeah, it looks like they're going to be cutting some stuff down here. I found this used truck here to expedite the felling of trees. Actually, another thing too, when you're setting these things up, you sometimes don't want to have maximum workers. Because you want them to go to the other building too, right? So let's just keep an eye on that. But we're going to start stockpiling our logs, and yeah, we don't want to see this takes boards, right? So at the very least, let's have 70 boards built before we start building our brick factory. And then our brick factory can then produce bricks. And I think we might start working on the church fairly quick. When you're doing something and, bringing up some interesting points, which I think I have done enough this episode, caused enough damage, pissed off enough people, but also inspired some people who were like, yeah, I thought that was a scam. I thought that wasn't, again, like people at my age, they're too often stuck in a job where they can't speak out and they're just silent because they want their paycheck, right? And I'm in a position where I don't have to worry about that. So I can speak the truth, and otherwise it's hard to hear the truth out there. And I'll go over a lot of industries, speaking the truth. But I think that there's enough entertainment, like the talking and the show itself, that I actually do like the series. I'm not. I don't think it's boring for 2 hours. But after 2 hours, I noticed I do start getting a little. I start losing focus a bit. I think I can only ramble consistently for about 2 hours. After that, it's questionable. We are getting some wood built. So some workers are showing up. Oh, and okay, see what's happened here? See? I thought there was more wood than that, but look, it's already lumber. Okay, this is then going to have to go to high priority, because this is going to fill up fast. And then we got to start our brick factory to start pulling out of there. Now you got to realize too, when we set up these routes here where we're picking up workers from Mexico to do this stuff, we're taking them away from construction jobs. But we still have so many construction jobs that we got to balance it. Like we can take a few away for now, but later we'll need to take more and more away. Like right now, there's not enough workers getting dropped off at the gravel bus stop. So when they get dropped off the gravel bus stop, they work at the gravel recycling plant. But they also, if you look here, they can walk all the way to the track builder. So this is how the track builder works. It's not super urgent. The construction of the facilities is currently higher priority. But once these buildings are sort of done, I'm going to be delivering more and more workers from Canada and Mexico to these bus stops to produce goods. And I'll do that between episodes so that by next episode, we'll have brick factory done and full of bricks. All this will be full of bricks and boards. We'll have a big stockpile of gravel. Basically, everything will be ready to start building in the city. And I got a theme for next episode. Maybe I'll come up with another topic of fake jobs. Check it out. See, this is why I think it's a good spot for a woodcutting post, because all these little roads let the trucks sort of. I wonder if they think about that when they set these real things up. If the amount of road in the area is considered a positive, because it reduces the footprint of trees. There could be trees here, but if you can't navigate the forest to move the trees in, what's the point of it? So I don't even know if this extra wood cutting post is that useful. If we got one there, but I do think the sawmill can produce quite a bit. See, this stop really kind of screwed things up. I think maybe just immigrants will work here. Like in the long run, this will be part of the domestic workers, but because you don't want the immigrants to be traveling too far to get to work either. And this is like one of the closest important places they could work. And I think they can get to the brick factory here too. Like it'll be close enough they walk along the road. I want to do that because that could end up being the most boring part if I get stuck on it again. I don't want to do that till the hour and a half where this is successfully background noise. That's Rogan, honest to God, the majority of his listeners are listening to background noise. That is what's happening. Okay, a lot of these long format, Lex Friedman. I'm not saying the show is boring, but I'm saying this show is just as interesting. I have 5 subscribers, so why do these people have millions if they're both background noise, right? What's the difference? So we got to work on that. I gotta come up with the right thumbnails. I don't know. We'll see. If there is someone out there who actually does like this is background noise, let me know. Recommend it. Recommend it to the others. To be honest, like it's a bit of a joke, okay? But if it really is good background noise and nothing I'm saying interests you, and you just like the clicking of the mouse, it's like this mouse. I put a lot of effort into this mouse. I'll reveal what it is in a future episode. If you're like an ASMR connoisseur and you're like, how come the mouse sounds so good? I'm not telling you what mouse it is. I'll tell you later. You gotta watch more episodes. You gotta assess if it's good background noise. Alrighty. Okay, we got this done. Okay, let's do a real small tutorial here. Very small, because I don't think I've ever explained this in the game. And if you are watching the series and later on you're wondering what's going on, and this is realistic mode, and I don't even know if this is covered in the campaign specifically. Like, I think you can optionally learn this, but it's very vital to learn. But so we've explained how distribution offices interact. I didn't understand any of this worked when I first tried it. So there's already been tutorials on how distribution offices scan a list of buildings for capacities, and the trucks will make deliveries based on what's needed. The one thing we haven't seen yet is how a storage facility works. Now there's warehouses, open storage, aggregate storage, various other ways these things can be configured. You'll notice with aggregate storage, you cannot mix aggregates, okay? So you just pick one, you just say store this item, and that goes there, okay? You can't pick multiple. Once you pick one, all the rest get grayed out. And then you get notifications if empty. I'll put that on actually, because I don't expect that to be empty again anytime soon. But I don't think we have a warehouse built. Still think it's, warehouse works the same though. So the warehouse has a different list of goods, but it works effectively the same as open storage. So this tutorial is basically the rules for what you can store in the facility. Okay, so it works in conjunction with your distribution office. So let's say you want 30% fuel at one of these buildings. If the amount of fuel is 30% of capacity, it will automatically go to the custom house, grab some fuel, and bring it to the building. However, what is the capacity? And that's what this does, this limit amount. This is essential. I'm going to probably link this to the distribution office tutorial because they work in tandem, okay? So you specify limit amount, okay? Otherwise, it will put a bit of everything, and it does. I don't know if it really knows how to do that percent calculation. You almost always want to limit your amount because if you don't, it's chaos, and you almost certainly are allocating you're gonna have problems later if you don't know what's in your warehouses. And because these are dedicated for certain purposes, like we know, for example, this is 0. Plastic waste is 0 here. Aluminum is 0. Okay? But everything else here, at some point, you're going to have some steel recycling over here. We're going to have a prefab panel factory here. We're going to have, we have our wood here, and we have our boards here. And the bricks will be coming in shortly too. So you want to set these to things you know aren't going to be in here. Like if, let's say, you do need plastic waste later, you could add the ability to, you could, go back up here, but odds are there'll be another facility somewhere else that has the plastic waste because it'll be part of another supply chain. The thing that is in common with everything that's stored, all 5 of these things, steel, prefab, bricks, wood, and boards, and that distinguishes from the other 3 things here, is all 3 of these, or all 5 of these, are construction related. And that's why we built it right beside our massive construction facility, because we don't want to be going all the way to the border to get stuff. And this is the big one. I recommend the big one with the rail line in it, because eventually we'll be able to, if we have surplus, let's say we start building more, like we're not using the materials in the city, we can start selling them to Canada or Mexico, the surplus goods. Or let's say we need more brought in, like construction's really picking up and our industries can't keep up. Our rail line will deliver it to the open storage. But the key here is you want to set these to the ones that are not there to non-zero. But that's not to say that every one of these should be matched. Like maybe wood isn't as popular, so maybe bricks will be more popular, right? Now, since we don't have much steel, we also have an option to, if we hit left control, we can customize, right? Lots of boards, lots of bricks. These are the most common things we're going to need in the foreseeable future. But the most important thing is to set the ones you don't need to 0. These all could remain at 20, but based on the supply and demand of things, and again, we're still paying for steel, so we're not really storing it just yet. But I do want to have a little bit reserved for steel in the future. Yeah, so now we have specific numbers, right? So now we'll set the distribution office to pick up from the steel recycling and the prefab panel facility to deliver here. And then the construction office uses it as a source, right? So we're actually getting some boards in here. So I am thinking once we get over 50 tons of it, we're going to set the destination for boards. We're going to make it so it's this facility, right? And that's sort of the idea of how you set up your inventory. So that's a bit of a tutorial there about limiting your amounts. And I played this for probably, it took me at least an hour of playing around with things to grasp what was going on. Like I was setting these amounts, but I didn't realize, well, how does this affect things? It's just the capacity of it. All it affects is the top number, and that's really what it does. See, look at that. It just goes like this, and a track's built. There's actually some interesting track builders. I think we have a technology for a new one here. And just see if it's very expensive. Check this out. I think we just unlocked it. Look at this thing. 106,000 rubles. 10% of our net worth. But it builds track very fast. It's 5 times the price, but it goes 7 times the speed. We're not really in a race to get it built. That's the thing. Like, there's no point in having our rail network built if our factories aren't ready yet. So we're doing this in parallel, right? So that By the time our rail network's built, all the things will synchronize. The factories here, our distillery, food factory, this warehouse, they'll all be ready. They haven't even started construction, so that's why, spending 5 times the money to do something 7 times faster for a fake job. Maybe this episode could be called Fake Jobs. I haven't talked about fake jobs as much in the previous, but it is something that it grinds my gears. Also, too, I used to be a competitive gamer, and one of the principles I learned once you get kind of near the top is everyone assumes you cheat or you have some sort of advantage, right? It's the same on YouTube too, and I do think that a little bit. I think the people at the top of YouTube do have, and they do have some advantages, but not. It's not like they're in plain sight advantages. Like let's say you're Mr. Beast or something. Your advantage is you've got a whole bunch of people that help you. That's your advantage. It's not like the algorithm. You're getting privileged algorithm. I really doubt there's any kind of it's just the algorithm with that many subscribers gets that many viewers, but his privilege is that he has the staff, right? But otherwise, it's a free. You can do good on YouTube, and I'm gonna try to work my way up the ranks. I'm gonna treat YouTube like a game, and I do need some subscribers. I do need this to make money. This is going to be my career. I figured I have I like games. I'm pretty good at games. Also, there aren't many people my age that are, like, in terms of the older generation game streamers, there aren't many. I was I was the first generation MMO player. I literally Warcraft 2. That's when I got into it, right? Cali and Case's Ladder. I remember actually playing in some very high-level games thinking, what would be an interesting industry? Is having shows of people playing video games. This could be interesting. I shared that idea with a lot of people. So this idea of Twitch, I thought of this idea in the mid-90s, okay? This wasn't like I'm some old guy just showed up. I'm like, hey, I'm going to start a Twitch channel, and I don't know anything about gaming, and I'm going to have a lame-ass game. No, this is next level. I could play Warcraft 2 for you. Maybe that would, the 16-bit graphics or whatever it had, maybe that would entertain some older people. Maybe I could do some competitive Pong. I've been playing games the whole time, just evolving. And this game, this Soviet Republic game, became this is my current game. I jump around from game to game. I try not to play a game. Like, I get sick of games, just like I get sick, and you get sick of anything. They say, psychologically speaking, to do the same thing for more than 4 years in a row becomes a psychological challenge. That your mind's not designed to do that. It's always exploring, and it seems like 4 years. Like, it's like that with jobs. It's like that with relationships and stuff. So, like, the people you're around, it's like I've got friends and obviously family that I've known for many years, and the way I deal with long-term relationships is I don't spend too much time with them. People can grate at you. They can get on your nerves, and vice versa, right? You can get on their nerves if you're in their presence. Egocentric bias. I have a friend who wants to go on the show. I got to work him in somehow, because this is a very complicated game, and I don't know if, I'm talking sometimes and then I miss a payment, right? And it's like, okay, now we're going to lose the game because of that. And if I have a guest, it's going to get even worse. But if I'm thinking if we start doing Tropico or Civ 7, I've been a big Civ fan, obviously, since Civ 1, right? Again, I started this, I was the first market for video games. Okay, we got to get back here. I noticed there's some projects here that are... I noticed here our road here. We don't have some gravel in this segment. What gives? We get some gravel over here. Another gravel freeway. Just noticed that. Because things are going to start getting around the city, right? And we want our fire station able to get to other jobs. We should actually, while we're at it here, let's let's do some gravel in the city here. Because if it's going to be blocked, like it's going to be blocked off during this construction here. There's no way around that, right? So the fire truck, if a fire happens now, but there's nothing that can really burn down that's too concerning. But it's better to do that now than when it's full of fire trucks and we have a lot of buildings and something really does burn down. Let's keep an eye on things here. What have we got? 20 boards. 20 boards. Okay, they're going in here slowly. Look at that. We're hoarding. This is the Hoarders episode. That's another thing too. I do write, I have to write a lot of this. It's not, these bits, I didn't just randomly start talking about taxes. Oh yeah, I was going to do an apology to Jeff Bezos. Yeah, let's just do that now. I'm sorry, Jeff Bezos. You're not stupid. You're at least average. You're at least, and maybe even above average intelligence. And Amazon is a good overall business. And just your Seller Central and its help and its policies of, I had an item in a store once where I was supposed to submit to have it recalled, but I didn't until last minute. But it was in a window of time where they still had it, and they could have sent it home. It was a $50 item, and they just threw it in the garbage because their system couldn't do ad hoc decisions. Okay, so while the ERP system that he uses is very questionable, and the way the policies are very questionable, the business, as the customer's point of view, isn't bad. But overall, considering, you started in the early 2000s, and I had a similar idea in around 2000, a few years after you. I wanted to sell home decor online. I actually had a website that I thought could grow to be Amazon, but I never got funding for it. But I do have to apologize to him. And the reason I apologize, the main reason is that maybe he'll give me $1 million. Jeff Bezos, give me $1 million and I will convert that to $5 million in 10 years. I guarantee it. I guarantee that $1 million will be made. And you got to work with me though a little bit, right? Maybe I'll take over Amazon Canada. I'll manage it for you. We'll just try it. Just a different method. With just $1 million to start, proof of concept. I can hire a few people at $1 million, and then if it's looking good, send another $4 million. Then I'll have $5 million. So next episode, you'll see stuff in here. I'll play a little bit this evening. Oh, we're dealing with money now too, right? We're always juggling things. Interest rate. Oh, see, look at that. It went up to 2.9%. You got to start worrying about this Chinese project here, right? I don't want to be spending on U.S. electricity once this is built. Like, as soon as this is built, we're going to switch over to stop importing from the U.S. because we can't borrow anymore. We literally got to get everything in rubles soon, or the society will collapse again. We'll have the 1989 Soviet East German Wall story, propaganda story made up by Western media that you all fell for. It's old money capitalists and czars rule the world. What is this? Is this an asphalt road? What the heck? I don't remember making that asphalt. That is bizarre. Somehow that became asphalt. I have to look at the video up to see where that happened. I don't remember that being... Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. That is bizarre. That is very bizarre. There is something going on here. I never did any of that. Like when I was throwing that out, I'm pretty sure I laid that. Well, how could it have gotten built? Like these would have. They couldn't have used the roads. These all became asphalt. There's a glitch in the game here or something. What is going on here? What is going on? How did this happen? I'll have to look into that. The whole world's turning into asphalt. Okay, I'm gonna read up on that. No, I think there's enough weird things going on right now that I've got to take a break. I think we're gonna tidy up this episode here. I have to look into what's causing that. All my gravel roads have turned into asphalt. Anyways, we've got some stuff stockpiled here. I don't know if that's really hoarding. Is it hoarding? By next episode, this will be full. We'll do a little bit offline and see how things go. But yeah, I think in general, when you play this game, at least in realistic mode, try to stockpile as much as you can before building. You know, it's called imperial overstretch. If you're doing too many things at once, nothing gets done, right? You got to focus on things. So hoard for a little bit, then build is kind of the lesson here. But hope you enjoyed it. I got an interesting idea for next episode. I look forward to hearing your comments below. Let me know, what you think of the series, any ideas. Again, other video games you think are interesting. Like, subscribe if you managed to listen to the end, and I'll see you next week.